Hermès has pursued a twin thread since 1837, generation after generation, focusing on both the consumers' lives and the meticulous labour of the craftsman in his workshop. Hermès continues to be highly perceptive and attentive to society's shifting nature and requirements, carried by an enduring spirit of freedom and inventiveness. In this video, let's learn about the history of Hermès. Hermès has developed from its days of providing harnesses to coach builders to become the world's most renowned producer and seller of status goods. The company has been family-owned since it was founded in 1837 by Thierry Hermès, who immigrated to France from Prussia in 1821 and lived until 1878. He opened his wholesale shop on the Rue Basse du Rempart in Paris, close to the old city wall. The current headquarters property at 24 Rue du Faubourg Saint-Honoré was purchased by his son, Émile Charles Hermès, in 1879. He expanded the company into retailing by producing and selling saddles, along with related equestrian accessories. Émile Charles Hermès was born in 1835 and lived until 1919. The term carriage trade at the time referred to the highest echelons of society, those with the means to commission, outfit, and maintain opulent horse-drawn carriages, not to mention stables of purebred horses. The elite class of global society eventually made up the Hermès clientele. Hermès responded swiftly to a quickly changing environment, which was quite unusual for a corporation linked with the aristocratic past, as the early 20th century saw tremendous changes in the ways of transportation. Émile Maurice Hermès, born in 1870 and died in 1951, recognized that people's preferred models of transportation were increasingly a reflection of their personnel and social status. As a result, the company created travel-specific luggage, portable folding furniture, and other items for travel by ocean liner, airplane, safari, or automobile. However, the equestrian community was not overlooked, as riding developed into an even more glamorous activity than it had been as a mode of transportation. The son-in-law of Émile Maurice, Robert Dumas, born in 1905 and deceased in 1978, was the organization's following director. One of Robert's sons, Jean-Louis Dumas, born in 1938, took over after him and maintained the position after 1978. Numerous Hermès family members remained actively involved with the business, and the fact that the Hermès family still owned it was crucial to maintaining its stellar reputation for quality. Tradition and innovation coexisted at Hermès, in an almost contradictory way. What might have appeared to be mechanical accuracy was actually attained by carefully nurtured and trained artisans working entirely by hand. Hermès became known for its products that evolved from useful objects to bestsellers to classics to cultural symbols, in addition to setting a standard of quality against which all other quality goods were assessed. Bags by Hermès. A Hermès handbag carried more significance in the early 2000s than most other items of women's clothing. The Hermès Kelly and Birkin bags became status symbols in popular culture. The Kelly bag was used as a plot device in Diane Johnson's book, Le Divorce, indicating to readers who were familiar with the jargon of rank and society that Isabel Walker, an American living in Paris, had taken up with a well-to-do older lover. Additionally, Martha Stewart's use of two Birkin bags, not only a black bag but also a brown one, drew attention from across the world during her 2004 trial, and may have heightened the contrast that the jury saw between her lifestyle and theirs. Part of the Kelly bag's charm was its accidental rise to icon status. The Kelly bag's predecessor, which denoted that it had a high handle, was initially a sizable bag for holding a saddle when it was first presented in 1892. The mallette and bolide were joined by the haute écharpe as spacious Hermès travel bags in the 1930s. The French high-fashion publication Femina published an early illustration in its July 1937 issue of two women waiting while a curved aerodynamic train entered the station. Both women were dressed in the sober, fitted travel attire that was popular at the time. The first carried a light-coloured mallette bag, while the second carried a dark Kelly bag made of soft black leather. Both handbags were a change from the popular 1930s pocketbook, which was a plain flat little envelope. The boxy Kelly bag gained notoriety when Princess Grace of Monaco was pictured on the cover of Life magazine in 1956, covering her stomach with her handbag to quell suspicions that she was expecting her first child, which would have made front-page news throughout the globe. In the 1950s, Princess Grace was more than just a mesmerizingly attractive trendsetter. She was the epitome of romance. She represented two subsets of American aristocracy: Hollywood superstars married to European royalty, and upper-class families from the East Coast. The Kelly bag's sales soared, and people started using it as a town bag that they could match with a fitted outfit or suit. About 30 years later, Jean-Louis Dumas had the good fortune to share an airline seat with the actress Jane Birkin. Dumas asked Birkin if she would help the firm create a new tote after becoming disgusted with the messy appearance of her straw carryall. The eagerly anticipated outcome debuted in 1984. The Birkin bag's roots are in the world of travel bags, just like the Kelly bag. A 1963 advertisement featured a bag prototype sitting atop a group of miniature Hermès suitcases. Women's life in the early 21st century had gotten more complicated than ever, as evidenced by the fact that they needed the equivalent of antique luggage to hold a day's worth of supplies. The informal trim, the more formal Constance, with its wide H-shaped clasp, and the lingerie, which was fashioned like a horse's feed bucket with holes through which a scarf could be inserted, are three of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis's favourites that went on to become classics. However, the bolide deserves special notice for utilising zippers. Émile Maurice Hermès was fascinated by the sliding latch that closed the top of his Cadillac convertible when he was in Canada during World War I. Even though zippers are typically credited to Elsa Schiaparelli, Hermès employed them in the 1920s for various sportswear, luggage and purses, including the zippered. They padlocked forerunners of the bolide and plume handbags. Scarves by Hermès. The well-known Hermès scarf, also referred to as a silk carré or square, was introduced in the 1937 Focus commercial in December 1936. Its design, known as Jeu des omnibus et dames blanches, was based on a woodcraft of a game from the 18th century. The 1930s saw a trend toward geometric modernist designs in Hermès scarves. Hermès created a brand new fashion accessories category by creating a sizable square of silk, aggressively scaled with figural sceneries printed on it. This design remained fashionable for more than 70 years. Although a variety of patterns appeared later, the stable of styles peaked at about 1,000 in the early 2000s. The pattern's characteristically aggressive scale remained constant and impacted the creation of high-fashion prints in the late 1980s. The crisp silk twill fabric, woven in lions from raw silk imported from China, and the same printing in addition to the patterns, many of which were inspired by Hermès' museum collection of artwork and antiques, made the scarves immediately recognizable as Hermès goods. Each scarf design utilized up to 45 screens and 75,000 tons for an unmatched level of color brilliance. Ties by Hermès. In 1953, the first men's Hermès ties were introduced. They were dark and featured understated geometric patterns. Henri d'Orangy was the Hermès tie designer after the 1960s. They frequently included tiny, repetitive equestrian or nautical-themed motifs in vibrant hues that weren't typically found in menswear. In the fickle fashion world, Hermès ties maintained their popularity for more than 40 years, which is no minor accomplishment. The Orange Box. The Hermès box itself became a sought-after item, adorning opulent foyers and boudoirs, and being auctioned off on online marketplaces, which is only fitting for a company that can be said to have developed the non-precious status object. In the 1920s and 1930s, one of the most well-liked athletic materials used for Hermès products was pigskin, which is why the box's characteristic colour and texture were first intended to imitate it. Hermès clothing. the multinational brand conglomerates that controlled the market for luxury goods, oscillated between promoting star designers and brand names around the turn of the 21st century. Since the 1920s, Hermès has provided ready-to-wear and tailored sportswear, but the brand's signature style is more well-known than any individual designer's work. Since the 1980s, Hermès has been connected with the names of Eric Berger and Martin Margiela, the latter of whom may have made the most enduring contribution through an accessory rather than a garment line, namely a double-wrapped watch strap. In the fall of 2004, when Jean-Paul Gaultier debuted his first collection for Hermès, he tapped into a mean noticeably absent from modern fashion, the carefreeness of the aristocrat born with a decent seat. Designs in this vein included a leather corset resembling a saddle fastened with the renowned Hermès padlock, in the manner of a chastity belt, and fringed cashmere coats fitted like horse blankets draped across the shoulders and belted. That concludes today's video. Thank you for watching it until the end, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.